or guests do not state or reflect those of the company, its management, sponsors, or any entities they represent.
Oh, it's lit. We prime time. Subscribe, like, and share. Give us your feedback. Yo, I'm Manny at the plate and Kobe off a steal. Gretzky for the goal and Brady at the wheel. I'm a game changer, the Osaka of the tennis. And breaking scoreboards, Simone of the Olympics. Defense and big business, the Mayweather who way better. From the greatness of Jim Brown, I've been down. Talking sports before I was off the porch. Screaming Bo knows while Jordan was playing horse. Late 80s getting torched by the drive and the shot. 2016 got a ring off the 3 in the block. They eased to forgot the cardiac kids. Price and Doherty, Bell in the Indian years. This who it is. Your host DeeTrynt, yo, that's a name banger. Come in the streets and talk sports with the game changer. Yo, your host DeeTrynt, that's a name banger. Come in the streets and talk sports with the game changer.
Man, what's really good? DeeTrynt, Game Changer Sports Talk, Industry Sports, streaming on multiple media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. Follow us on IG at Industry Sports or at DeeTrynt. If you missed the live streamings, you can catch the replays on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Radio Public, various other streaming platforms. Just look for the Industry Sports channel. Like, subscribe, share. Once you get in there, you will see Game Changer Sports Talk with yours truly. Make sure y'all do the same. Hey, man, you know what time of the year it is, man. It's football season. You know what I'm saying? You know how we do. It's time to get into it, right? So, the Browns had a preseason game yesterday against the Eagles. And they had joint practice this week as well. For those that are unfamiliar, um, you know, during the preseason, the first 2 games is usually joint practice scrimmages. So when you do that part of it, you get to see a lot of it's a lot of scripted plays, a lot of going over. It's just like more in-depth practice for real. And this is why a lot of times you don't see a lot of stars or a lot of the first stringers. Let me say first stringers. You don't see a lot of the first stringers and heavy rotated second stringers. You don't really see them play like that in the first few preseason games. It's 90 men in camp. It's only a 53-man final roster. It's only 50 on an active game day. And for where the Browns at right now, they need to be able to see all they need to see. Now, I think looking at how they've gone about the first 2 preseason games and thinking about, Jay, what's really good, baby? And thinking about, how some of the things they were saying in the beginning, right? Before preseason game when OTAs and training camp was starting, it was about, hey, we're going to keep 4 quarterbacks, People were against that. Now you got 5 quarterbacks on the roster. Hey, Nestle, what's going on, gorgeous? You all right? So, I said in the beginning they were going to keep 4 quarterbacks. I feel like Shedeur Sanders is the guy, right? And I feel like Dylan Gabriel is a good backup. Now, I'm not saying that to say Dylan Gabriel can never be a starter. But just from where the Browns stand, what's good, Maul? What's popping? Just from where the Browns stand, though, I feel like they have had so much difficulty finding a quarterback. To have 5 different guys at basically under your control that are at different levels and different types of similar skill sets is ideal for the Browns. You have a guy in the building who's won at the highest level at that position. You have a guy in your building who has all the talents that any elite quarterback could ever have physically. You know what I'm saying? You got a young guy in there who's been in the league, who potentially has the talent to do something, but is still trying to find his way. And then you still got two young guys fresh out of college that still have to develop. So for all the people that say the Browns don't develop, why are you mad at what they're doing now? Right? For all that say that the Browns need to have, a guy in there that they could play, what is their complaint about? Jamal say, the thing about it is they're not going to start him. They are hell bent on starting Joe Flacco until when he starts playing, and he will then the crowd win the crowd, and the fans will be calling for him. What's good? What's good, Tom? So more, there's nothing wrong with Flacco starting. I personally think all us Browns fans just got LTSD, losing trauma stress disorder. Okay. We so used to being talked about and not being able to have a consistent winner that we are in so many ways impatient. But Rome wasn't built overnight. And you want to be part of an organization or root for an organization that you know learns from their mistakes and is evolving each year. The whole time that this regime has been here, they've gotten better each year in some aspect. That's a good sign to me. You know, Andrew Berry, Kevin Stefanski are in their 40s. So it's a good sign to me. So to me, that tells me by the time by the time they 50, they should be to figured it out. Because I've always said it takes 4 to 5 years to even get the team you want in when you get it from scratch. It's so much shuffling. It's so much contract situations and disgruntled players from the previous regimes. It's a lot to deal with. So getting back to where I was at, the Browns, when it comes to the quarterback position, they don't have to do anything else for the next 4 years. Hear what I'm telling you. People don't want to believe it. They may not care. They may feel like, oh, he just talking out his backside. Let me tell y'all right now, the Browns do not have to worry about a quarterback situation for the next 4 to 5 years. All right. And they don't have to do that because they have every area covered. So now let's get to it. Joe Flacco gonna start, right? I was talking to my off the clock homies a couple days ago. Shout out to OTC too. And they were saying like, hey, bro, I think they don't think Flacco's gonna play a whole 17 games, right? And I understand that. And then they was also saying, 5 quarterbacks is too much. But I said if we going off track record, right, over the last 3 seasons, the Browns have used 4 to 5 quarterbacks each season. So for them to come back into the season with 4 or 5 quarterbacks just tells me they're learning from their mistakes. Or they're forecasting from track record. Okay. Until we got the guy that's gonna actually sit up in here and be sturdy. Boom. But we also know, let me add a caveat too to something I said in this point I just made right now. A lot of quarterbacks have done really well in their careers by sitting and developing for a couple years. I don't know too many quarterbacks that haven't gained Hall of Fame or legendary status by being able to sit for a year or two. In some cases, even 3 or 4 years. All right. And right now, there's no need to rush Dylan Gabriel or Shador Sanders to start. There's no need. I feel like Shador should be the guy that you can come in and ready to play, and Dylan Gabriel is the clipboard guy. And I feel like him and Shador are the starter and backup of the future. Even if they rotate, it don't matter. Until one of those guys becomes disgruntled and makes it an issue, both of those guys are the future of the quarterback room. And I'm okay with that. And a lot of people should be okay with that. I ain't saying you gotta be. I'm just saying you should be, right? Hold on, let me get to this comment. Moore said, "You got so many players from around the league who are rooting for Sanders and hoping he gets some PT because if he doesn't, that's going to make national news and all hell is going to break loose up there with that organization." No, it is not going. All hell is not going to break loose. Okay, let's keep talking about track record, right? The Browns have been this organization, this regime, and I'll finish my other point when I get a chance, right? Uh, this organization has been very tight-lipped, right? And regardless of how people want to nitpick all the moves they've made over the last 5.5 off seasons or 6 off seasons, um, this team has gotten better, okay? And they've been able to keep some type of level of control from it getting out of pocket, okay? A lot of these, arrests and stuff that you find out about is because our local sports media does not prioritize the information of the game. They prioritize the information of the theatrics. Okay. Cleveland's local media does not teach their fans the game. And this is why a lot of fans come off casual or they feel like, oh, they can't handle it. Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry have not showed me at one point in time in the regime that they can't handle the media and everybody talking crazy about them. Especially when you done won 2 coach of the years in 5 seasons, and you got a Andrew Berry who's virtually about to be named one of the best GMs of the decade. Okay, how many guys from his front office has moved on to other teams, and those teams are doing well? So when it comes to a farm system, which is basically what most great GMs and coaches do in the NFL, right? They have their guys that they have learned up under them. Then those guys go, and now you got tree branches, right? Andrew Berry is setting a hell of a president. Okay, so as far as all hell breaking loose, I'm just saying in a long way, the local sports media has no control or real influence over what the Browns organization does. They don't. They lost their credibility. They lost their leadway. They lost whatever they had when they got up here, and especially when it came to the whatchamacallit situation, the Deshaun situation. A lot of cats was being really weird, talking really crazy, like we know how the local sports media is. So I just feel like, they all right, man. They cool. They cool. Um, Let me get back to the task on hand. So, okay, yeah, more say, yeah, but all them teams are doing well with the exception of the Browns because they're all stuck at that. They haven't made an AFC title. Okay, but listen though. So this is again, right? I feel like your statement, though valid, lacks a lot of context. Okay? Because when you say the Browns ain't been to a title game since '89, you're excluding the fact that the owner and the team at that time was different. And that from that '89 game, they only stayed into the Brown in Cleveland for 6 seasons before they left. They didn't come back till '99. Since '99 to 25, we've had 3 owner changes and about 8 regime changes. So I don't think it's fair to put everything that happened from 1989, because that's the year you started with. That's the year up here. From 1989 to 2027 to 2017 on this regime, because this regime wasn't here. They didn't get here till, or I guess till 2018, because I don't think they get here until 2019. 2019 was their first year, right? How was you putting that all on them? You can only hold this regime accountable for what this regime has done over the last 5 years. And over the last 5 years, this team has been more closer to getting to the point that you're talking about than any other regime. On top of that, let's add more context. The Browns didn't have anything as an organization. They didn't have a structure in the ownership. They didn't have a structure in the front office. They didn't have a structure with the coaching staff. They did not even have a lot of legitimate players that they could hold their hat on to build a team around. You understand we're talking about football, right? So it's just not about the players that's playing every Sunday. It's about the players behind them that got to take over. It's about the players that they build and that helps them build the identity so they can know what players to identify when they're drafting and scouting. You can't just get players because they're talented. You can't just get guys because they're available. They have to fit your system, but they didn't have a system. The Browns didn't have an identity. They didn't have a farm system. They didn't have a development system. They didn't have anything. So you're saying that in 5 years, that this new regime was supposed to take this franchise that was the absolute dumpster fire to the top of the mountain in 5 years. And you're going to say that because you're going to say, oh, well, this team did it and that team did it. But that team had a structured ownership. And that team, that your other team you're talking about, brought in people who actually know the game on a different level. This regime wasn't doing this. This ownership in the beginning wasn't doing it like that per se. Now, they tried a few little pieces, brought in a couple of veteran guys, some guys who actually know football. Jimmy Haslam did start doing that. But Al Lerner didn't do that. And Randy Lerner didn't do that. So I'm not going to hold Jimmy Haslam accountable for what the Lerners did or didn't do or what Mo Deal decided to do. That's not fair. All right? This regime has brought in talented players, been able to keep the star players they inherited, and has just been able to turn what seemed like a tragedy with the Deshaun Watson shit that everybody's over fucking blowing. They just seem to turn that into a time where, what I say last year, they need to be able to insert new young stars with their old stars. And what did they do? Now you got a Quinshawn Junkins. You got a Dylan Gabriel and a Shador Sanders. You got a Mason Graham. You just brought in Isaiah Bond. You got a Charles Schlesinger. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? So now, because these guys ain't performing right now, they ain't shit. But you talking about a bunch of guys that's barely 30 or barely 25. This is the type of team you asked for. You asked for a mix of talented players that are veteran and young that can become a dynasty. Do you want the Browns to win for 1 year, or do you want them to be a winning juggernaut? Because you don't build winning juggernauts overnight unless you got to build it for the cachet. And guess what? The Browns organization and Cleveland as a city ain't got no cachet. So how the fuck you expect somebody to come in here and bring they cachet to overshadow 50 years in ineptitude? It don't make sense, bruh. It don't make sense on no level. And it's unfair for people to ask them of that in 5 seasons. We got to learn how to separate our impatience and our indifference and our disdain from whatever the previous regime's done and hold this regime accountable for it. It doesn't make sense. This is a question I've been wanting to know for the longest. This Jamal, he asked me the question. He said, this is a question I've been wanting to know for the longest time. Since the Browns came back in 99, how many times are the Browns going to hit the reset button on the roster until they're finally making some noise and being competitive? Well, they haven't hit the reset button in 5 years. What they just did right now was revamp the offense, what they needed to do. Over the previous 2 seasons leading up to this, they revamped the defense, what they needed to do. And revamping is not rebuilding, it's renovating. I kept guys that are going to be staples. Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward, staples. So you got a pass rush and a defender that you can keep. And they finally figured out how to add to the front 7. And we already know what they did to the secondary. Greg Newsome is a good player in this league. Mark Emerson is a good player in this league. Grant Delpit is the good player in the league. They all on the same fucking team. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah is a good player in this league. Though he is injured right now, he is still a good player. Devin Bush was one of the best linebackers in the league at one point. Okay? Malik Collins just came over here. He's a Super Bowl winner who's a dominant defensive tackle. What are we talking about? Isaiah McGuire has developed. Alex Wright has developed. What are we talking about? Ronnie Hickman has even developed in the secondary. You know who ain't developed though? Carlton Mitchell. His weak ass ain't did shit. But we talking about all these players. So where's the lack of talent? You still got a veteran offensive line, injured or not. You got talent on the line. Conklin is talent. Batonio is talent. Wyatt Teller is talent. DeJuan Jones is talent. What are we talking about? Ethan Poaches is talent. Luke Weipler is talent. Zach Zinter is talent. What are we talking about? They brought in Tevin Levins, Tevin Collins, or Tevin Collins. They brought in Cornelius Lucas. So they're adding veterans to their talent to an already veteran room. What are we talking about? Where's the lack of talent? Where's the reset? Every player is only going to last so many years. Nick Chubb was injured. What was he going to do? So now you want them to hang their hat on something that's a maybe? Make it make sense. How does that make sense business-wise? How? Amari Cooper didn't want to be here. Elijah Moore didn't work out. It happens. It's called trial and error. You don't know something don't work till it don't fucking work. Y'all hold this regime to an unrealistic standard, and y'all underappreciate what they've given y'all so far, and it's disrespectful. Everybody's so impatient on what they want, they ain't even paying attention to the shit that's going on in their face. You got a Shador Sanders who could be a franchise quarterback, period, for years, 15 years. You find what I'm saying? Hold on right quick. You feel me? You got a Dylan Gabriel who could be a starter or at least a suitable backup for 10, 12 years in the league. You got a Kenny Pickett who you don't know what you could do with. But it's some talent there at some type of capacity. You got a Joe Flacco here. You still got a Deshaun. I don't want to hear nothing about what Deshaun looked like when he was playing through injury and motherfucking social humiliation. Hold on right quick, y'all. Tight time. So back to what I was saying. So what I'm saying is we got to start appreciating what we have versus what we feel like we want to get to. We gonna get there. Okay? The Browns revamp their quarterback and skill positions in one offseason. Okay? On top of that, guys like David Bell, Michael Woods II, Cedric Tillman, even let me say his name right, Jamari Thrash. These guys have been in Cleveland's system for multiple seasons. These guys have been in the system for multiple seasons. So you already got guys that's familiar with the play and how things are going. Okay? You already got that going on for you. So you got Jerome Ford, who's been on the team for a minute. All right. Listen, let's get to, and now I can kind of segue this into talking about some of the preseason game, right? That just happened. Why this ain't showing up? I don't like that. Where the link at? Hold on. I was getting my share on, y'all. Hold on. Trying to grab some more traffic right quick. You feel me? Because, this is a nice discussion. You feel me? I want to talk about it for real, for real. You feel me? Because I love my Browns. I'm going to defend them like no other. Okay? I don't care if don't nobody ever think they going to ever do nothing, bruh. I'm going to always defend my Browns. You hear me? Always. Good, bad. That's loyalty. That don't mean I ain't gonna tell them about themselves when I get a chance. Oh, Seth say, what up, though, bro? Seth say, I'm not gonna lie, bro. I feel like this was a tremendous waste of resources, but we did our thing in the draft that year. Okay, so we did. So check this out, right? Now, if people want to say, this is me, I'm intrigued. So look, let me tell you, right? If people want to say that Deshaun was a waste of time or resources, let me put something else on your mind. We had Baker here. How did we get Baker? We drafted him. What was one of the big things about Cleveland before this regime got here? No players with real cachet that are still in the prime of their careers want to come play in Cleveland. None of that changed until the Browns got Deshaun. When the Browns traded for Deshaun, right? And people mad, oh, they gave up 3 draft picks. They gave up 3 first rounders, a second rounder, a third rounder. Bruh, hold on. So before that, nobody wanted to come here, right? People who let me get back where I was at. And the people who say, oh, they did that, be some of the same people that say the Browns can't draft. Now, Seth, I ain't saying that's you. I'm just saying a lot of people who say Deshaun was a waste of resources. It's some of the same people who say the Browns don't know how to draft. So you can't have it both ways. You can't say they don't know how to utilize the draft selections they have and then get mad when they mortgage them to get a player that's already proven. You can't have it both ways. Pick a side. And a lot of people do that, and that's called moving the goalposts. A lot of people do that. I don't be on that type of time. Which one is it? Getting Deshaun here opened up a lot of people's eyes to playing here. Now you can get a Zadarius to want to come here. You can get a Juan Thornhill. You can get a Jerry Jeudy to want to come over here and buy in. You can get a Amari Cooper to want to buy in. You know what I'm saying? You can get a Jack Conklin to come over. Well, Conklin was already here, so I ain't gonna say that. You can get a Malik Collins to want to come over here and buy in. You can get a Devin Bush that was with our rival to come over here and want to play. You can get a Joe Flacco who was with our rival to want to come over here and do good things. You don't get that. So, and again, me saying those things highlights people saying the Browns ain't got no culture. Make it make sense. If they're able to get guys in the building, right? And these guys enjoy playing here, how they don't have culture. Now, the type of culture that people are talking about only comes with winning. I understand, but it only comes with winning. But in order to win, you have to build the winner. In order for the machine to be a long-lasting device, you have to build it with the right components that helps it to sustain and basically go without you having to be there all the time. That's the whole point of building a team, right? That you're supposed to already know. A lot of these segue. Uh, hold on, y'all. I was sharing the dang on broadcast. You feel me? Let me move this down. Book up. Let me do that. All right, let me finish doing that. So, man, so where I'm at. Let me go. Hold on, because I done got on this rant. You feel me? Let me talk about the game. All right. The Browns had a preseason game yesterday after having joint practices all week with the defending Super Bowl champs, the Eagles. From everything I've heard, And I've checked with a few of my resources and the things I've seen. The Browns pretty much more or less were more impressive than the Philadelphia Eagles in this set. Now, win or loss, whatever the case, but whatever the Browns did as a team, they were very impressive. And yesterday, they beat the Eagles. Was it 26 to, I mean, 2022, 22-19 or something like that? Let me pull it up. Now, I was at the stadium yesterday, but it was the Morgan Wallen concert. So I didn't even get a chance to see the whole game. I got to see bits and pieces, a few little plays. I got to watch some recaps. I haven't actually got to sit down and rewatch the game in its entirety yet. So it's certain little things that I'm probably gonna miss or not hit on. So the Browns won 22-13 over the Eagles. It was big talk about Dylan Gabriel's performance. 13 of 18, 443 yards, 7.9 yards of completion. He had an interception. He had 2 sacks, and he fumbled a handoff. All right. Now, sounds like he had a hit or miss game, right? He led one scoring drive, and he started off the game 8 for 9. Now, for those that are unfamiliar with Dylan Gabriel's game, one of the big knocks on from us as people who understand the quarterback position is that he doesn't take a lot of deep ball shots. And when he do, it has to be basically just open, right? The problem with that is in the NFL, defenses are always adapting. So if you're always going to the underneath guys, you're only going to get that off so many games before they're forcing you to go deep. And when you go deep on a passing play in the NFL, it takes longer to develop. So the average quarterback gets about maybe 3 seconds to throw the ball. If you have a really good line and the quarterback knows how to navigate the pocket, you could extend that to about 10 seconds, depending on the level of continuity and synergy you got between quarterback, line, and receivers. You could have spent that to 10 seconds. I understand we've seen quarterbacks extend plays longer, but I'm just saying on average, you're going to get almost 3 mandatory, around 3 mandatory. And if you're having a good play, you might get around 9 or 10, right? Maybe 6 probably is most, but it's possible, right? And with that being said, if you're not a mobile quarterback or a guy who can navigate, them 6 seconds that you're waiting for the the down the field play to develop could get you murdered. These defenders in the NFL are looking to hurt you. They are looking to put you down. Okay? So being able to navigate that offense is a big thing. The interception he threw, he shouldn't have threw the ball. He should have threw away. But that's a rookie mistake. That's a learning play. Okay. He followed that up though with a first down strike on the third down play. Okay. So now you're showing resilience. You completed 8 of your first 9 passes. That means you're understanding how the offense is working. All right. You're not improvising it, but you're understanding how it's working. Cool. All right. The running game was doing really good. Pierre Strong, 13 carries for 89 yards, had a nice big gainer to get him in the red zone, if I'm mistaken, or close to the red zone. Amani Marshall. Now, me and my peoples was talking about Amani Marshall, Appalachian State, got a picked up. I said he had the build. I said, hey, he looked like he could do something. And he's doing something. Now, my one homie came on and said, hey, he was looking at Pierre Strong. And I ain't gonna lie, Pierre Strong looked good. Now, what's fire for the Browns right now is the team that they start off with as a final 53-man roster. Yeah, dude is nice. He is, though. You know what I'm saying? But the team that they gonna start off with for the first 4 games of the season is not going to be the same team that they end with, because I don't think Isaiah Bond or yeah, I know you're talking about Marshall. I know you're talking about Marshall, bro. Nah, I'm hip. I was all on him. He got the build, he got the size, he got the speed. He know how to make the one cuz got a little juke. You know what I'm saying? Him, Pierre Strong. You got Jerome Ford who gonna be there. You got Dylan Sampson. Now, my whole thing is with them is I think if they put Dylan Sampson on the practice squad, I don't think he makes it. I think if they put if they put Ford on the practice squad, he ain't making it. Quinshawn ain't making it. But I think you might could get off with Marshall or Pierre Strong. Now the problem is Quinshawn Junkins probably not gonna play for at least the first 6 games of the season, right? And that's at worst. I'm saying at worst 6 games, because no, I probably should take at worst off. I'm gonna say ish. Somewhere around 6 games is like the line, because I don't know what the NFL is going to do to punish him or Isaiah Bond. We actually put them together. I don't know what they're going to do to punish those guys, and it may be very light, and they may feel like since those guys aren't signed already and they wasn't convicted of anything, and they got the details to say that they could have been basically victims in the situation to a degree. I think there is a chance that these guys slip through. On top of that, the Browns do a pretty good job of punishing their own players for doing stupid shit, whether people want to admit that or not. All right. So, as far as I ain't say the best job, I said a pretty good job. Understand what I said? They do a pretty good job. All right. So, with that being said, Quinshawn will be still under the Browns' patrol, even though he may not be on the roster. He doesn't have to actually get put on until they actually negotiate the contract. And they could take that into 2 weeks into the season. Okay? Why? Because you can really start the season with Ford, Strong, and Marshall and see how it goes. Somebody may want a running back. You have something to trade. You know what I'm saying? You always want to acquire assets. That's Andrew Berry's job. He's to get the talent, and then whatever talent don't make the roster, he need to turn that into a different type of asset, whether it be cap relief, so you can acquire a player or trade a pick, or to get picks that you can use in different type of ways, whether it be actually selecting a prospect or turning that into more picks, or packaging that pick up with something else and getting a veteran player, or a talent that's already in the league. So any of those things can happen. But I like the running back room in this competition right now. The running back room about 5 deep right now. The quarterback room about 5 deep right now. Give a take a select situations. It's pretty cool. The wide receiver room. No, wait, before we get there. The tight end room, because I ain't going to be here too long, y'all. Game Changer Sports Talk, Industry Sports, streaming on multiple media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. Follow us on IG at Industry Sports or at DeeTrynt. If you missed the live streams, you can catch the replays on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Radio Public, and various other streaming platforms. Just look for the Industry Sports channel. Like, subscribe, share. Once you get in there, you will see Game Changer Sports Talk with yours truly. Now, this tight end room is looking kind of crazy. I ain't gonna hold you, right? And I'm gonna say why I say that. We got Ninjoku, right? That ain't no mystery. We got Ninjoku. And then we got Fannin Jr., right? A guy who we drafted this year. But Caden Davis. Now I gotta look up on his background because I haven't done that yet. But I'm talking about he's listed at tight end. But he plays a lot like a receiver. He's shown me sure hands so far, and the ability to make plays after the catch a little bit. Now I don't know if they see him as a receiving tight end or a slot type receiver base, but I do like him. Um, and that guy could be the third tight end. Now, how many skill position players we keep, I think is going to be dictated on how many offensive linemen we keep and what is the actual final number um on quarterbacks. Now, I personally think it's four. I think Flacco starts, Kenny's the backup, Shador's the third, right? And that's a little switch up from what I had it before. But just, in a position of saying I really feel like the Browns want to develop these quarterbacks for the first 2 years and only use them if necessary, kind of like how they did with DTR. And DTR was over here like 3 seasons. So I think Dylan Gabriel and Shador Sanders in 3 seasons could really become some money Mike. If these Browns F up this Shador thing, bro, Gabriel is trash. So again, you missed that part of the show when I was saying they're young quarterbacks, right? They're developing. You know, the whole point is to be able to let these guys develop. So if you got two quarterbacks who are highly rated in college, and you have a chance to let them both develop for a couple seasons, that bodes well for whatever final product you're gonna get. Because the Browns have used so many quarterbacks in a season, because how they handled DTR before they finally got rid of him, I just feel like if you put Shador and Gabriel in a DTR situation in 3 seasons, they're going to be a lot better than what DTR is. All right. We seen DTR. If y'all watched the game, y'all seen DTR yesterday, right? He didn't look, you know what I'm saying? I didn't see no improvements. He still looked like the same DTR with his head, with his looking like a deer in headlights that he did here. So I'm trying to, I'm like, okay, you get these guys in that situation though. I think they're going to be a whole lot better. I think they're going to be a whole lot impactful. And ideally, you want them guys to do that because one shows up and the other one has a chance to show up. Now he becomes trade bait, and you can do that. Will the Browns give a Shador a fair shit at starting though? Will they even give him 3 seasons? I'm saying I don't think. I think that question comes from emotion versus logic, right? You got Joe Flacco in the building. All right. As far as resume and credibility, do you think that Shador has earned a place to start over Joe Flacco right now? You could say, oh, they ain't giving him the opportunities with the ones. But guess what? Where Shador is at as a player and where the Browns are at as an organization and the players on the field, they're not in the same place yet. So having a Joe Flacco there is a smart idea. Regardless of how we feel, it's a smart idea because they're not in the same place yet. You know what I'm saying? So giving Shador a fair shot is letting Shador develop. When you let Patrick Mahomes do it, what happened? When you let Aaron Rodgers do it, what happened? When you see, you know what I'm saying? When you let Steve Young did it under Joe Montana, what happened? You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of quarterbacks that get to do it. Now, you got guys that come in and come on, but even Tom Brady sat behind Drew Bledsoe. You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta give, you want to give a guy a fair shot, let him learn the team. And then if you want your quarterback to have a fair shot, do what Njoku on offense, and they'll we know for but so he said, so living on he say exactly, he not there yet, he'll get there for sure.
You
Right.
just broke up
And
for a second, bro. So you probably have to repeat what you said. You lagged out.
what was the last part out that came through clear?
Shit, I don't remember.
Okay. Our fans just impatient.
But you
Are
were
you
talking to
good?
Money Mike.
Living on say our fans are just impatient. Understandably so, but still, Money might say Flacco should be the starter, but Shadir is clearly the second best quarterback. But listen, being the second best quarterback and being the second ready quarterback is two totally different things. I just think, and I truly believe, that Dylan Gabriel and Shador Sanders should just sit back for the next 2-3 seasons. If they peak before then, so be it. Okay. But you can get Flacco for at least, and listen, 3 seasons may be too far. If a person says that, I'm not tripping. But you got to give him at least one. Give him at least one. I say two because whether people like it or not, old boy is playing next year. He's going to play next year. And you know what's so raw about old boy is going to play next year? Because every quarterback would have been in the system for multiple seasons when he comes back. It'll be Shador and Gabriel's second year in the season. If Flacco somehow magically wants to come back for whatever reason, it'll be his third year in the system. You know what I'm saying? If Kenny Pickett comes back, I'm not saying it's going to happen. But I'm just saying, just to keep it on the thing, he'll be in his second year in the season. So we can say that the Browns will have a quarterback room who's been in their system multiple years. Regardless of what quarterback you lean your hat on, that's still a good place to be making a decision from, which is something the Browns have to be you get used to, making decisions from a good position in the first place. You know what I'm saying? So 2 seasons is cool for me because I still want to know who's the number one receiver for real. I want to know who's the number one running back for real. I want to know if we're going to have to take next offseason to rebuild the entire offensive line because people's not thinking about that. I'm thinking that this year with this line, this year, this offensive line can get us by. But next year, Batonio's going to retire. Wyatt Teller's not going to resign. Conklin's probably either going to be debating retirement or looking to get traded. You'll have DeJuan Jones, Ethan Poacher to be off contract. You'll have Luke Whitepler. You'll have Zach Zinter. So it's a good chance, y'all. The first them first round picks next year might go on offensive linemen. Let me just put that out there now so people can understand. Those 2 fair draft picks next year might go on offensive linemen. Think about that. So Seth say, I don't believe Pickett makes the final roster. I mean, I feel that, but I think he should. I think there's nothing wrong with Flacco being the first quarterback, Pickett being the second quarterback, and Shador being the third. And you having Dylan Gabriel as the emergency backup quarterback. I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think there's nothing wrong with them taking 4 quarterbacks into the season. Deshaun is not playing this year. He's not playing this year. He won't catch a snap. The only way Deshaun played this year, Almighty forbid, universe forbid, is every quarterback go down. If every quarterback goes down, okay. Tyler Huntley is on the roster, but I don't think he's going to make the final roster. And hold on, let me read these comments. Living on say Flacco play next year with his tutelage to the young. We going all the way, no question. Championship DNA. Our defense is damn near unmatched with healthy. I agree. Our defense fire, and people acting like it's not though. That shit like way pissing me off. That defense gas for real. The O line is reestablished, and finally now focus on protecting the QB. Okay, they're on the same page. I wouldn't have used the word reestablished, but I got what you're saying. They on the same page of we need to play our best so that way we can give the person we got a chance because we actually got some weapons now. I'm with you on that sentiment right there. But like I say, they spent the first, not the first two, but they spent the first 2 seasons evaluating what they have. You know what I'm saying? They spent the next 2 seasons revamping the defense. And like you just said, that defense nice. That defense has an identity. You know what type of players you want to bring on that defense. You know who your stars on that defense. You know who are the guys who's going to come up eventually, right? Work in progress. But it's really good right now. The offense got fucked up last year. People forget we came into last year with the entire offensive line hurt, our number one quarterback hurt, our number one wide receiver hurt, our number one running back hurt. Like we was really limping into last season. So when we went 3-14, everybody was losing their minds, but you forgot the team didn't even get healthy till week 10. And they had a brutal schedule. So I ain't tripping because they turned that misfortune into what we have now. Like these guys really just brought in a draft of guys, and every guy on that they drafted has a potential to be a starter in this league at some point, if not all at the same time. When have you ever been able to say that about the Browns? Money Mike say, I would def go on offensive lineman unless Jeremiah Smith is there. We probably take him. Hey, I don't want to start venturing into the college talk, but I do like Smith too, though, bro. Smith a dog, bruh. Hey, an absolute animal. But he don't come out for 2 seasons. He was a freshman last year, so he still got to play a sophomore season and his junior season before he can even talk NFL. So with that being said, if we in a position to get him, cool. But it's possible we may not be in a position to even take him unless he's just on the board still. Because again, going to this wide receiver room. All right. Now I'm gonna talk about this wide receiver room, and then I'm gonna probably end this off. You know what I'm saying? I know homie got something to do and shit, you know what I'm saying? But man, I wanted to get up here and connect with y'all because I ain't been up here in a second. But when it comes to this wide receiver room, right? Let's talk about what the wide receiver room did. Okay. Uh you got Judy, right? You got Tillman. A lot of people high on Tillman. I'm warming up to Tillman. I ain't saying I got nothing bad to say about Tillman. I'm just saying I haven't watched a lot of college over the last like decade ish. I say at least 7 seasons for real. So I cannot, you know, say what he looked like in college and how it translates to the NFL per se. I can't say what I've seen from here so far has been interesting, and I don't mind keeping him. Um, uh, uh, Jamari Thrash has really thrived. Gage Lavardi, let me say his name right, because I feel like in my mind I be screwing his name up. Lavardin. Gage Lavardin has been the standout receiver in this offseason for me. Okay. He is what we thought Elijah Moore should have been. That is my opinion on Gage Lavardin. He is what we thought Elijah Moore should have been. And I like him. And I really hope he makes the final roster. Thrash, I hope makes the final roster. You already know Judy gonna be there, Tillman gonna be there. I haven't seen enough of David Bell like I wanted to, but I don't think David Bell is fully healthy. And I think that's a guy that can end up on the 4-week IR. I haven't seen a lot of Michael Woods. He might be another guy that goes on a 5-week IR. Now, it's not that these guys are necessarily injured, but I don't think they're healthy enough to be playing a regular contact football yet. And ain't nothing wrong with that because you still got talent on deck. I hope they bring Floria back when he get I liked him. I haven't seen what Dante. I haven't seen a lot that I think is promising from Dante Johnson, but I know he's somebody who can provide you something. So I'm right now. I like the wide receiver room because we're still trying to find out who is who. You got 2 staples, and Judy and Njoku is receiving threats, and then you got a bunch of other guys who's trying to make a name for themselves. Shout out to Channing Tatum's Gambit. Ooh, I'm trying to make a name for myself. What they trying to make names for themselves, and I think them guys are definitely going to be able to do that real soon. Um, I definitely want to see Jerry Judy take that next step. The Browns' next home game is at home. I definitely be at the stadium. You feel me? So definitely come down. If you come down to the stadium, make sure you hit me. You feel me? I'll come out and check you out. And they're going to play the Rams. The only preseason home game they have. I'm pretty sure the starters are going to play the first half more than likely. I don't expect. Hey, Florian, nice. He just little. Hey, he nice. He just little. Him and Gage. They just little, bruh. That's all. So my only issue is Floria got the hamstring thing, so we may be able to bring him back because by the time he get done with his ordeal, a lot of teams probably be to fill their roster spots up. Gage, I'm scared though that if they practice squad him, then he not gonna make it. I think we have a better chance of practice squad than the first two guys, which I like, and I don't want to do that. Dave, Bell, and Woods. I think we have a better chance of practice squad them and them staying versus Lavardi and then Floria. But if it was me, like I said, I'll put them on the 4-week IR, let them finish getting all the way healthy. But I still want them guys. The problem is they would have to count for the 53-man roster. They would have to do that, and then they would have to hope guys are there. So that's when it started to get tricky. Now, I will tell y'all, leading up to this Rams game, a lot of guys are going to get cut. Because it's only a three-game preseason, and you're not really going to have to cut guys until Monday, which is that Monday after this last preseason weekend coming up. So they won't technically have to cut guys to the 25th. But because you've had these guys in your camp all this time, you should basically know about now who you want to keep and who you don't. So this 90-man roster that everybody has, I would not be surprised if it gets cut down to 70, right? Because if I'm mistaken, you get the 53-man roster and you get about 16 to 17 guys that go to your practice squad. So, if you got guys battling for spots, or you still intrigued by some players and you want to see them give you something a little more before you hang your hat on them, you can see a lot of teams cut down to about 75 to 70 guys by the time we get to Tuesday. Okay, and they want to go into their last preseason game with the guys that they feel like are going to play during the season. So, I think the Browns, as far as the offense go, has a lot of talent to play with in the bag. Now, I ain't saying it's the most top tier talent, and I am not saying that some of it couldn't become top tier talent. What I am saying is, though, they have something to play with, and that's a better position that they've been in a long time. So I'm appreciative of what they have. Shout out to Barry and Stefanski and Jimmy Haslam. All right, because now Jimmy Haslam can focus on the optics. He don't got to focus on the field. All right, Kevin handles the field. Andrew Berry handles the business. I still don't know what the fuck D Podesta do. All right, I don't like him. I don't like him. But I am proud of Jimmy and his ability now to be able to focus on actually getting the facility better, changing the look to make it more appealing as far as the uniforms and the optics just on the team and all. That gives him more time to focus on that as an owner. So I'm definitely in a fan of that. This Rams game gonna be fire. I'm gonna encourage y'all to get some tickets. Get you some tickets to the Browns game, man. If y'all gonna be down at the stadium, hit me. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna shoot a couple more during the week. We getting to ramp it up. It's about to be football season, so we definitely gonna wrap it up. Probably. I do got some gas. I'm probably okay. I gotta address this before you go, bro. Come on, Seth, come with it. Living out say facts. You already know. Try to keep my football knowledge how you feel. Been a student of this shit for a long time. I ain't saying I know it all. I'm just saying I got some valid feedback that may, pique the perspective. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, shoot away though. What you got? Yeah, these Browns gonna be fire, bro. These Browns, I'm telling you, man. I think in the next 3 to 4 seasons, the Browns gonna win the division and be a game away from the championship. I really do, bro. That defense gonna keep us in a. How you feel about this new stadium situation is gonna play? Okay, a great topic to end it on. Okay. Just share this on like 20 Browns groups. Let's go. The numbers up, bro. I appreciate that, God. That's love. I appreciate God. Shout out to my peoples for the shares. You feel me? So, okay, when it comes to the new stadium, let's start at the beginning. I am pro dome. I'm pro dome. I'm pro dome. I'm pro dome. Cleveland's weather is so unpredictable that it discourages real money from really being here. Shout out to Dan Gilbert. Shout out to Haslam. Shout out even partially to the Dolans and some other investors in the city that brought and revented the convention center with Huntington Bank. And, is getting more involved in renovating the flats and making Cleveland just more appealing. Okay. We got a really good city with some really good people in it. We have a lot of good talent. We have a lot of legendary talent in this city, and we don't have no exposure. Do you know what's one of the biggest exposures for your city, people recognizing the talent, is your sports teams. When your sports teams are doing good, people follow winners. Okay? If the Browns, the Cavs, and the Guardians have 5 consecutive winning seasons at the same time. Okay, I'm just throwing out a scenario. 5 winning seasons at the same time. All right. Do you know how much money would come into this city? Do you know what would discourage that money from being here? The lack of shit to do. What Jimmy wants to build isn't just a Browns dome. He wants to build a Browns experience. Okay, a Cleveland Browns experience with hotels and different gaming and maybe even the casino. Now, I personally felt like Brook Park is a threat. I'm not saying that I'm probably wrong because I could be, but I always perceived it as a threat because initially Jimmy Haslam wanted them to tear down the Justice Center, and they wanted to buy that land, and they was gonna put it there, and then they wanted to buy out Burke Airport. And if you don't know where Burke at, if you come down Route 2 across the water, it's that little airplane strip spot where they usually do the air show at, the Labor Day airplane show. It's that little strip, right? Which makes more sense because in order to move the casino around, it has to be off of water. Now, if they put a Cleveland Browns experience right there on that part of the freeway, okay, where it's hotels, it's indoor gaming, it's experience, it's a dome. You feel what I'm saying? Now you off the water. What's on the other side of our water but Canada? So now that's international money you can get. You can do more with the boating. You can finish revitalizing the Cuyahoga River, and you can make it more accessible to the state. That's open up more money avenues. That's open up more jobs. Okay, me personally, I'm saying that it's all a great idea. Even if it goes to Brook Park, it's all a great idea. People forget that Jimmy Haslam owned a plane company. So even if he don't move it to Brook Park and they go to Burke, which is I'm saying that I'm pro Dome and I'm pro going in the Burke area. To me, that's perfect. Right there off the it's still off the water. Y'all gonna have to renovate that part of the freeway. So y'all understand that when they do that, Route 2, that whole section of Route 2 is gonna be renovated. It's over. All right. And that's gonna stretch from there to damn near Brattonall. I'm just telling you what's gonna happen. It's gonna stretch to damn near Brattonall. That part of Route 2 is gonna be over, and they're gonna have to redo the freeway in a sense. Now, that's probably part of the reason it's a hold up on that though. Because that means, and I know this sounds fucked up, but that means a lot of spots on St. Clair and that backside of Lakeside, that shit over. That shit over. That shit's over. That shit's gonna be over. I think a lot of those spots that's by marginal, that shit's over. Yeah, but I ain't gonna hold you. That shit over. But it's gonna be worth it because it's gonna bring so many jobs in a convenient space to get to work. It's gonna be worth it. Now, even if they move it to Brook Park, right? That's just me pitching my pro Dome, pro Burke location thing, right? But and I'm guesstimating, right? I ain't I ain't an architect right now. Even though that's something I'm thinking about doing. I ain't an architect right now, so I'm just speculating. But even if they go to Brook Park, it's open space. What we as Clevelanders, especially those that look like me, we don't like the racism. So we know if you take it to the Berea Brook Park area, they just gonna be more racist. And that's a lot of our thing. But a lot of us are legal and shit. It ain't like back in the day where a lot of people ain't had a license, they ain't had no insurance. A lot of us legal and shit now, so that don't bother us. They ain't really fucking with us. All right? They gonna have to actually be picking us out of crowd. But I'm gonna tell you something, Berea and Brook Park are all them like. They like money. They like money. So having that stadium and shit out there, they're not gonna be on the shit that they used to be on because they like money. They pull a lot of people and shit over right now because that's how they get their money. That's how they get their bread. But with that dome and shit there, they ain't gotta get their bread like that dome. Cause that dome gonna bring in billions. Just think about it. We can have okay, stop. Let me go back to Burke Lakefront. Something that I learned. I think I learned. I need to look it up to verify, but something that I think I learned. I heard in order to have the Olympics in your city, you gotta have 4 to 5 different sports stadiums in a 5-mile radius. Okay. That was an interesting fact. That's an interesting nugget to learn. I ain't sure how much of a fact it is. I said too that when the Browns do move into the dome, that they should renovate the other stadium, but they should give Cleveland State a football team. They should give Cleveland State a football team, and they could be a D1 team. And now you got college football right in the heart of Cleveland. We still love the Buckeyes. All right, let's make this be clear. We gonna always love the Buckeyes. Can't nobody make us not love Ohio State football. Nobody. Okay? But things are expanding. Things do evolve. Cleveland State is one of the more prominent law schools, and they're expanding. And it's in the heart of the city. I think them having a football team on the college level eases the blow for wherever the Browns move to dome, even if especially if they go to Brook Park. But I feel like if they move that experience to the Burke front and they give Cleveland State a college team and make the stadium that for them, they got the Wolstein Center, you got the baseball, you got the basketball, bruh, we can have the Olympics. We could have the Olympics, the NFL Pro Bowl. We could have the NBA All Star Game. Okay, we could have the baseball All Star Game. Okay, all that shit is money, and that's all I think about when I think about this dome. Is how much money you can bring into the city. Now, I'm a big proponent of it coming to the heart of the city. All right, come to the water. I ain't tripping if it go to Brook Park though. I'm not mad. Brook Park is a second choice. I'm cool with that. But I'm pro dome. Those are my thoughts because I can ramble on about this for a minute. But those are my thoughts on the dome. And the Brown situation with the dome. My only thing is, Jimmy, you gotta change the uniforms. You gotta give us a logo, and you gotta change the uniforms. I listen. A lot of people not gonna like this, but I don't want to be called the Browns no more. No way. Flat out. So get the dome. Then let's do a renovation on the name, man. You know what I'm saying? But stay in Cleveland. All right, man. DeeTrynt, Game Changer Sports Talk, Industry Sports, streaming on multiple media platforms: Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. Follow us on IG at Industry Sports or at DeeTrynt. If you miss a live streaming, you can catch the replays on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Radio Public, various other streaming platforms. Just look for Industry Sports channel, like, subscribe, share, follow. Once you get near, you'll see Game Changer Sports Talk with yours truly. Hey, make sure y'all go to the website, industrysports.com. You know what I'm saying? The article's about to be going up. You know what I'm saying? Hooley do a good job at keeping good material up, bruh. He be around the little leagues. So if you into the little leagues, you know what I'm saying? I'm talking about football, basketball, baseball, all the kids sports. Get up with us, bruh. You aspiring sports writer. You want to be able to, you know what I'm saying, put your thoughts out, do some pieces. Hit us up, man. industrysports@gmail.com or DeeTrynt@gmail.com. Or go to this website, industrysports.com, leave a comment, send a message. You could do that from there too. We'll get that. And we'll organize it, man. We really about bringing more light to the city. I really feel like our local sports media don't do a good job. And I feel like we could do a better one. And now we in the era we could build our own everything. We can cut out the middleman. We don't need it. We could just use each other. And we can get there. I appreciate the love, the likes, the shares. You know what I'm saying? Make sure y'all watch the replays and leave a comment. When you see the replay, still leave a comment like you watching it live. Because guess what? When I get the notification, I'm going to have that conversation with you via text too. This ain't just about live, man. When I ain't on there, we can still have these talks. So it's love, y'all. Please enjoy the good weather. Let's go, Brownies. One love.